I come into this video without really a direction of where I want to go. So if I ramble a little bit, forgive me. Yesterday, Joe Biden was sworn in as the 46th president of the United States of America. And I watched his inaugural address, and it was moving. As an American, I'm 31 years old. I'll be 32 in March. So the presidents that I have known in my lifetime, H.W. was president until 92, and I wasn't paying attention. I was 3 years old. Clinton was president for 2 terms after that. I wasn't really paying attention. I was in school. You think Clinton was president from 92 to the year 2000. In the year 2000, I was in, 5th, 6th grade? I wasn't really paying attention to politics. All I knew is that he had been impeached because of some sexual transgressions, okay? That's all that I know. I wasn't really paying attention. And then George W. Bush, of course, September 11th happened when I was in 7th grade, and then we got into wars that, we're still in middle of right now. And I know that over the years, it seems like, just to me growing up, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe if someone older than me can comment on this and shed some light and tell me that I'm wrong, because I'm willing to listen. It seems like to me it's more difficult now than ever in my lifetime to get along with people who disagree about things. And I hear people talk about, well, Joe Biden has been in office for however long he's been in office, and, we don't need people who've been in office that long. Well, okay. Let's think about this for a second. Joe Biden, went in office and whatnot. I don't want to get it wrong. Somebody can fact check me, but wasn't it like 1972? And what that would mean to me is that Biden has also seen that it's more difficult for people on opposite political sides to get along with each other. Now, let me say this, because this is a message that I've been trying to deliver for years. Our elected officials have not done a great job representing us, and we need to hold them accountable. And so it feels kind of odd to me that I would vote for a guy like Joe Biden, who has been one of those elected officials. And then if you look, he's got some bad stuff on his record. The 1994 crime bill, for instance, which got brought up ad nauseum during the Democratic primaries, it was bad. It was really bad, and it hurt people of color. And that's not good, okay? But I think people grow, and I think people learn. I think Joe Biden looks at the situation right now. And this is just my impression from watching his inaugural address and watching the debates with Donald Trump. I think he looks at it, and this is a man who is he's kind of towards the end of his life, man. He's 78 years old. He's already passed the average age of a male. The average living age of a male. He's already passed it. And I'm not trying to get morbid right now, because, former presidents, they're well taken care of, and they normally live up into their 90s or whatever. But this is a dude who's on the backside. I mean, he's towards the end of his life. And I think he sees things. And I think he sees this division. And I think he wants to try to cure it. That's just what I believe. And so, with that being said, I don't think he's not viewing this like a game anymore. It's not the political game anymore. Because let's be very, very honest about something. Politics is a game, and it's a really stupid game. And I say it's a really stupid game because it hurts us, the voters. These people get to, the people who run for office, they get to parade around in front of people, and they get to try to say the things that make you happy so that you'll vote for them, even if they don't even believe in it. And I think that happens with both parties all the time. These politicians get up and then they just start like, hey, what's something that people care about now? Let's talk about it. Let's say that we're going to do something about it. Then they don't ever do anything about it. That's the game of politics. And that's why, like, I'm completely against political parties, because you've got parties that are holding on to these beliefs, or at least they say they do. It doesn't mean that they do. And I think Joe Biden, being on the backside of his life, it hurt 11,000 workers. Let me address that in just a second, okay? Let me address that in just 1 second. Let me get to my point first. I think Joe Biden is on the backside of his life, and I don't think he's playing those political games anymore. I think he's a grandfather who has grown, who has aged, and has wisdom, and I think he really wants to get this country back together. Partisan politics have been so bad. They've been so bad. Politicians making decisions just because they just want to be stubborn. That hurts us as Americans. Okay? And I'm not blaming one party for this, okay? Because a lot of people have accused me of being, some liberal yuppie. Like, no, it's everybody's bad. Everybody sucks. And yeah, you do have a number of people who are actually working for the people, but those people are outnumbered by everybody else. And so nothing will ever get done to help us. Partisan politics have been bad. And you turn on the radio, you listen to, I don't care whose opinion it is. If you're listening to like CNN's opinion, if you're listening to Fox News' opinion, they're helping to reinforce this idea that it's the other side that's the problem. Folks, both sides are the problem. Both sides are the problem. And as long as we allow them to make us play the political game that they are playing, it's never going to benefit us. It's only going to benefit them. And that's like the one thing that I want to stress more than anything. And I think Joe Biden he's at the end of his life, man. He's at the end of his life. And I think now, he wants, and I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, if he does something that shows me that he's playing partisan politics, then I will point it out and I will tell you how disappointed I am. Because last year, and I've said this before, but like Joe Biden was one of the last people I could see myself voting for, okay? And that's the truth. But I gave him an opportunity and I listened to him. Once he won the Democratic primary, I gave him an opportunity and I listened to him. And when he spoke yesterday at the inauguration, he said that we have to be united because we have never failed when we have worked together. That meant something to me. Those are strong words, man. I'm kind of getting emotional right now. Those are strong words. And it's true. We have never failed when we have worked together. We got to quit the partisan bullcrap, man. We got to quit it. Good to see you, Skit. Glad you got out of Facebook jail. We got to work together. We got to work together. And I really, really hope that Joe Biden means it when he says it. Because actions speak louder than words. I really, really hope. And if he's not, then in 2024, man, we got to move on to the next one. And we got to find someone who will try to stop playing this political game and will allow us to come back together and work together. Because it's ugly and it's destroying this country. And the thing that bothers me the most about it is that you have foreign enemies of ours that hire people to sit in some warehouse somewhere and just play on social media all day long. We have evidence of this. We know they are doing it. And you know what they are doing? They're passing around these little memes that get shared on Facebook, making fun of one of our politicians so that, you know, someone from the other side will jump on it. And Russia is hiring people. The Kremlin is hiring people to sit in like a building with computers and try to make us hate each other. We know it's happening. We have evidence of it. And the sad thing is, all they're doing is they're taking the plays out of our politicians' playbooks. They're doing the same thing that our politicians do, and it's tearing us apart. They're doing the same thing that Fox News commentary does, and it's tearing us apart. Russia, all they're doing is doing what people are already doing here. And they are winning. Russia is winning. We got to start seeing people as people, not as a set of beliefs. I want people to give Joe Biden a chance. I watched that inauguration and like really I got emotional because I was like, this is the America that I love. I don't care who the president is. If Donald Trump had stood up there and said the exact freaking same thing that Joe Biden said, I would have gotten emotional and I would have said, this is the America that I love. The fact that it was Joe Biden doesn't matter to me, because the message was right and the message was clear. We have to work together. And it's really of utter importance that we, the voters, come together and we work together so that these people playing these political games in Washington, these partisan politics, we, the voters, have to come together and we have to let them know that ain't going to work anymore. They are going to work for us and the betterment of us, or they're going to get got. And before somebody reports this and says that I'm threatening someone's life, I just mean we're going to get their job. We're going to vote them out because we are their boss. That's how this works. That's my message on that. I watched that yesterday and then I got on Facebook and I was really disappointed because I saw a lot of people just kind of like making these jokes, passing these memes around. And I was like, man, you don't even know. That meme was probably created in Russia and you're fighting for Russia at this point. That's what this division is. If you post a meme or this copy paste status that you think is cute and you think, oh, that's going to own the other side, like you are working for Russia, because that's exactly what they're doing. Now, let me address this because it was a comment that got in here. 11,000 workers lost their job yesterday when Biden pulled the permits for the Keystone Pipeline. A lot of those jobs were union jobs. In fact, the United Association, which is what I'm a member of, came out before that even happened and tried to discourage Joe Biden from doing that. So the United Association's not happy about that. However, I made this comment somewhere just a second ago. As a union worker in the trades, you go to work yourself out of a job. That's how this works. You get on a construction site, you only stay there until the job is done. And once the job is done, you get that layoff slip and you go to the next job. This Keystone Pipeline is no different than that. 11,000 people lost their jobs. Those 11,000 people, most of those 11,000 people, were going to lose that job anyway at some point. The only difference is now The Keystone Pipeline, which had been, I don't know if you remember that mess back in 2015. You had Native Americans who were, they were protesting against that pipeline being built because they didn't want it on their lands. And they were afraid of the environmental issues that could come with it. That Keystone Pipeline did have a leak, and it leaked thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of oil, which kind of proved the Native Americans right? The ones that were doing that. The truth of the matter is, gas is the past. We've got to start working towards more sustainable energy. Nuclear energy gets a really bad rap because of Chernobyl or 3 Mile Island or Fukushima. But nuclear energy is safe. It's sustainable and it's cheap. We've got to move toward that because oil lobbyists have kept that from happening for a long time, because man-made climate change is real. There is a scientific consensus that it's real. I'm getting a phone call. Yeah, that's my feeling on the Keystone Pipeline. All right, I'm going to answer this call. Thanks for sticking around, guys.